We're still packing for our move into our new house, but I want to go over the 2 water parks that we visited a couple months ago when we went down to Orlando. We said that we would tell people more about it because, having kids is a choice, whether you want to go to Volcano Bay or whether you want to go to Typhoon Lagoon. I wanted to get into the pros and cons of each, the things that we enjoyed about both of them and things that we didn't like. So let's get to it. First, let's get into an overview of each park, and then I'll give my opinions on things in the second half of this video. First, for Volcano Bay, it's a much newer park. It's definitely fun, fast, and modern. It has a lot of really cool rides like the body plunge, a water coaster, a rapid river, which is like, I call it the crazy river, and then it has a lazy river as well. They did have a kids area called Tiki Reef, which was really fun. Letty enjoyed that. They have private cabanas, live entertainment throughout the day, and they had a really cool feature that would wet the ground throughout the day, so that way your feet weren't getting burnt on that super hot concrete, which I enjoyed. Next, you have Typhoon Lagoon. I would say this is more family friendly. It's a little bit older. Volcano Bay is a much newer park, a slower pace, if you will. Obviously, Typhoon Lagoon is home to one of the world's largest surf pools. It puts out like 6-foot waves. It also has some family raft rides, and it kind of has its version of a water coaster called the Crush and Gusher. There's a lazy river, and then it has a kiddie creek area for the kids to play in. Now let's get into my opinions of the park. First, I just want to state, if your kids are under 42 inches tall, I would definitely recommend Typhoon Lagoon over Volcano Bay. There is not much to do if you are shorter than 42 inches. There's the kid area, and then there is the Volcano Bay pool to swim in. But other than that, that is pretty much all that young kids can do at Volcano Bay. I think that was what I was most disappointed about. I think that our daughter Letty would have loved the crazy river. She would have loved the water coaster, but all of those experiences were for people greater than 42 inches tall, so she wasn't able to do it. So she spent a lot of time just at the kiddie area or in the main Volcano Bay area while we went off and took turns riding rides and spending time with her. Now, if your kid is greater than 42 inches, which one do you pick? Let's get into it. Volcano Bay is a lot of fun in the aspect of it's all newer rides. You can definitely tell it's just a newer park. It also had these wristbands that you could scan into rides, which is nice because you're kind of putting yourself into a virtual queue. You could just come back whenever it was your time to ride the ride. The only downfall of that is you really couldn't do anything else except for rides that didn't have a wait time at all or hang out at Volcano Bay while you were waiting for your queue time to come about. But if you think about it, if you were waiting in a line, you wouldn't be able to do anything at all. So I guess there is that fun flexibility of the fact that even though you can't necessarily ride other rides or only ride rides that have no wait time, you're not just standing in line. Typhoon Lagoon definitely has more of the conventional water park things that you'd think of. The tube rides, those kind of things. The wave pool is a lot of fun. Like I said, 6-foot waves. I've heard that they do surf lessons before the park opens there because the waves are so big. Also, there is a chance for some Disney character appearances at Typhoon Lagoon. So obviously, if you're there with your kids that love the characters, then Typhoon Lagoon would definitely be a better play for you. As far as our experiences at Volcano Bay and Typhoon Lagoon, I definitely think like my dad and I enjoyed Volcano Bay more than Typhoon Lagoon. However, our family as a whole probably had more fun at Typhoon Lagoon because there were so many more rides that Letty could do. In fact, I think she could do every ride there but 2 rides, whereas at Volcano Bay, she could only do 2 rides. Both locations have like private cabanas and things like that. The Volcano Bay private cabanas also come with an iPad that you can kind of get into those virtual lines without actually going to them. You would normally have to go and scan your watch on this kiosk to kind of get into the line, but if you had a private cabana, you could actually get into the virtual lines without ever leaving your cabana. The kiddie area at Volcano Bay was much bigger than Typhoon Lagoon's kiddie area. However, there was much more for kids to do in Typhoon Lagoon, whereas Volcano Bay really only had that kiddie area. There was probably more waterfront beach area for you to sit at in Typhoon Lagoon. The Volcano Bay area is actually kind of a small area, truthfully, and it's just very deep with chairs, whereas Typhoon Lagoon has more chairs all the way around the lagoon, and it's not as deep, so you can sit closer to the water if that matters to you. I also felt like Typhoon Lagoon was a much more walkable park, not as spread out. I feel like because Volcano Bay has that huge volcano in the middle and the bay, it took a lot longer to walk around the park. I think we ended up with almost 20,000 steps the day we went to Volcano Bay, just because it was just so much more spread out. There are 2 rides at Volcano Bay that if you are going to do, you have to go quickly, and it's the body plunge and that water coaster. Both of them by the middle of the day will have over 2-hour waits, so you really need to scan into those early if that's something that you want to do. Overall, I don't think you could go wrong with either water park that you choose. If you have kids over 42 inches tall, I would probably pick Volcano Bay. If you have kids that are under 42 inches tall, I would pick Typhoon Lagoon. But if you ask Letty, she had fun at either of the parks. I don't think that she would say that she had more fun at one than the other. So really it's about maybe what you want to do. If you've been to Volcano Bay or Typhoon Lagoon, tell me which one you would prefer. I definitely want to go back to Volcano Bay. Subscribe if you haven't, you're worth it.